So reasons for proofs, postulates can be reasons, properties, definitions, and theorems that have already been proven, and we'll get to how that works soon. The first postulate that's part of this lesson, which you've already seen this one before, is segment addition postulate. So here's a segment, here's segment AC. If you were to take the length of AB and add it to the length of BC, then you'd have the entire length of AC. So kind of common sense, just put in a statement. So if we were to write this out in equation form, it would look like this. AB plus BC equals AC. Okay, and we can also use definitions in proofs. And as I present these, some of them you've seen, some of you haven't, but we're going to be using these as reasons in our proofs. So definition of congruence means that segments are congruent if and only if they have the same measures. So for example, if the length of AB equals the length of BC, then AB is congruent to BC. And also the other way, if AB is congruent to BC, then the length of AB is equal to BC. So congruent means the same shape and size. When we're talking about segments, it means that they're the same length. And next one, definition of midpoint. So let's say you have a segment, and this is segment AB. The middle right here is M, the midpoint. If M is a midpoint, you're told that's a midpoint, then you also know that AM is equal to MB. Then AM is the same length as MB. Definition of midpoint. And moving down, properties of congruence. Some of these will be familiar from yesterday. Reflexive property of congruence means that, let's say, segment AB is congruent to segment AB. AB is equal to itself. Symmetric property is, let's say, if AB is congruent to BC, then BC is congruent to AB. That you can flip the orders on, put it on the other side of the equal sign, and it's still equal. Intransitive property, which we saw yesterday as well. Let's say A is congruent to B, and B is congruent to C. Therefore, A is congruent to C. So that was that whole analogy of Zara is the same height as Caroline, and Caroline is the same height as Kirsten, then Zara and Kirsten are then the same height. Okay, and then down here we have properties of equality. These are the ones that we went over yesterday. So in addition to the new ones, we're also going to be using addition property, subtraction, multiplication, division, distributive property, substitution, reflexive property, symmetric, and transitive. What's the difference between the properties of equality and the properties of congruence? With the properties of equality, you will see an equal sign, whereas if you see reflexive property of congruence, you're seeing a congruent sign. But same idea. And now we're going to practice identifying them. So moving up to this portion up here, just like yesterday, we're just going to write out the property that's represented. PQ equals PQ, then PQ is congruent to PQ. Well, if they're the same length, then they are congruent. That is definition of congruence. Or a definition of congruent segments, however you want to put it. 2, it says if K is between J and L, like in a line segment, then JK plus KL equals the entire thing. That is called segment addition postulate. And we will start abbreviating here in a second. I just want to make sure that you know the whole thing first. Number 3, EF is congruent to EF. That is reflexive property. The next one says if RS equals TU, then RS plus XY equals TU plus XY. They're adding XY to both sides, so that would be addition property. The next one, look at it, number 5, what do you think it is? Symmetric, that's right. So if AB equals DE, then DE equals AB. Number 6, if Y is the midpoint of XZ, then XY equals YZ, so both sides of the segment are the same length. That would be definition of midpoint. Number 7, look at number 7, what property do you think that is? Transitive is right. Good job. It's transitive. If FG equals HI and HI equals JK, then FG equals JK. And the next one, it shows AB plus CD equals EF equals, and then AB equals EF. They subtracted CD from both sides, so that would be subtraction property. Next, PQ plus RS equals TV and RS equals WX, then this. Well, what they did here, since RS equals WX, they plugged in the WX for RS, so that would be substitution. Then number 10, LP equals PN, says LPN are collinear, meaning they're in a straight line. P is a midpoint of LN. Well, that would be definition of midpoint. If P is a midpoint, then the two sides are the same length. Then we have UV is congruent to UV, then the length of UV is equal to UV. That is definition of congruence. And last but not least, CD plus DE equals CE, and then they put DE on the other side. They're subtracting it from both sides, so that's subtraction property. We're done. Okay, now we're going to get into some proofs. First one being right here. Same idea as yesterday where you have the two columns. Where's my highlighter? Okay, so we have the two columns right here. We have statements and reasons. So statements would be the steps in proving, and reasons would be the theorems, postulates, definitions, whatever we're using throughout the steps. First step, though, is to put down the given. So yesterday our given was like an equation. This time it's a statement. So given is E is the midpoint of DF. That is written right here. All you need to do is write given right here. So if this was partial credit for each blank you get right, like this one's a no-brainer. Okay, next step. We're going to look at this given and look at the picture and see kind of how it relates. Well, E is the midpoint of DF, so E is the midpoint. So just knowing that, I know they're probably going to say that DE is equal to EF. And we're trying to prove that two of these would equal the entire length right here. And so we're just going to go through the steps to solve that. So first off, they say that E is the midpoint, that was given. Then they're saying that DE is equal to EF. The reason why that is true is because of definition of midpoint. Okay, now we're looking at their next step and seeing what they did. I have DE plus DE equals DE plus EF. Okay, here's what they did. They added a DE to both sides. So by adding that, there'll be addition property. For step 4, they combine their like terms to say that that was 2DE. Combining like terms could also be called simplifying or substitution. Looking at my answer choices over here, we used this one, we used given, we used addition property. Oh, wait, yeah, I crossed that one out. And definition of midpoint, simplify. I'm going to use simplify. Okay, and from there, 2 DEs equal DE plus EF. There's a typo here. Isn't there? No. There's no typo. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, I was trying to see if these were related, and it's not. So if we look at DE plus EF equals DF, that's here. DE plus EF equals the whole thing DF. That's segment addition postulate. So right there where I really had to like stop and think about it, it happens all the time. It'll probably happen when you're doing it too. And then I have one answer left. I could just plug it in, or I could really look at it. If 2DE equals DEF, and then DEF equals DF, then 2DE must equal DF, so therefore that is transitive property. Okay, next. What did you think of that? Hard, difficult, easy, in between? Not as easy as yesterday, that's for sure. That's true, it is. And you know what, on standardized testing, you're never gonna have to like type something out. They'll always have the answer choices. So that is good news. And the same situations repeat over and over. So you'll just kind of start recognizing it, and you won't have to like think as much. So first off, I look at this first proof. First thing right off the bat, before I look at anything, I'm just putting given right here, because I know I can get that one right. Okay, now that I know I got that one right, I'm going to look at what they're actually telling me in regards to the picture. So KL is congruent to LN, so they're saying that, I'll use color. They're saying that this is the same length as this. They're the same measure. Then they also tell me that LM is congruent to LN, so this is the same measure as this. And they want me to say that L is the midpoint of KM. Well, right here, before I even look at what they showed me for steps, just like looking at concepts, if this is equal to this and this is equal to this, then these two are equal to each other. And if these two are equal to each other, that means L is the midpoint, because that's definition of midpoint. So I think that's where they're going with this. But congruent statements, then they rewrite it as KL equals LN, LM equals LN as far as length, and that is definition of congruence. Then they say that KL is equal to LM. Well, here they say KL is equal to LN, and also LM is equal to LN. So therefore, these two are equal to each other because of transitive property. And then because KL is equal to LM, L must be the midpoint. That is definition of midpoint. Just make sure I got the same answers there, and we're good. Okay, next. Now, okay, before I do anything given, when you do the homework problems, I have it set up in the assessment tool so you can like drag and drop into the spaces. You would always put your given in this space, so let's say that was empty, you'd always put whatever given is right here. And then whatever it's trying to prove, in this case that PS is congruent to TU, you'd always plug it in this bottom space right here if you had to plug that in. So these three you can always get right, right off the bat without even looking at the problem. Because this is just your given, this is your prove, and then you're putting given there. Okay, so now that we got that, we're looking at what this means in regards to the picture. PQ is congruent to TQ. And UQ is congruent to QS. And we want to prove that PS, this entire line, is equal to TU. Okay, we see about that. So it's saying that they're congruent, and then it's also saying that they're equal in length. That is definition of congruence. I'm going to abbreviate with a congruent symbol there. Then here it says that PQ plus QS equals PS, the entire segment, and TQ plus QU equals TU. That is the segment addition postulate. Segment addition postulate, abbreviated. Okay, so now they're taking these statements, these equations, and they're plugging in numbers for numbers. So if PQ plus QS equals PS and PQ equals TQ, they just plug this in here. So they're using substitution here. And then for this one as well, TQ plus QU equals TU, but QU equals QS. So they took QS, they plugged it in there, and they're using substitution. Okay, so now you may notice that you have TQ plus QS, which matches TQ plus QS, and those both equal this. So therefore, PS must equal TU because of transitive property. What? There's a dog. Or is it a human? That was real. And then if they're equal in length, then they're congruent. Definition of congruence. We're done. Nope. Next. Okay, next, before I even look at it, given, if I needed to drag and drop these in, I'd just plug those in. And then I would look at this statement in regards to this here. K is the midpoint of JL, so that means this is equal to this. M is the midpoint of LN, so this is equal to this. And we are also told that JK is equal to MN. And we're asked to prove that KL is equal to LM. I believe there's going to be some transitive in here. Because if this is equal to this and this is equal to this, then this must be equal to that, which is equal to, yeah, okay. Anyways, JK equals KL and LM equals MN. That is definition of midpoint. So it's saying that so they told us that K is a midpoint, so that means that JK would equal KL because of definition of midpoint. And same with the other statement. Okay, so next they're coming in with JK equals MN. I'm trying to see the correlation. There's no correlation. It's actually part of the given here. JK equals MN. So this is also given. I know that was kind of tricky. Sometimes they do that though. Next, they're saying MN is equal to KL. Well, if JK equals KL and JK equals MN, then MN must equal KL. That's transitive. Sometimes they call that substitution. Just FYI. Actually, in this case, they're calling it substitute. No, they're calling it transitive. Okay, we'll put transitive. You could also call it, I don't know, transitive property. Then LM equals KL. I feel like that's transitive too, but there's only one transitive over here. Huh. Transitive or substitution? What's that?
I feel like 4 is substitution and 5 is transitive.
Okay. I don't know. As far as on your homework, usually they only have one or the two options, or it's very obvious what's what. 6 KL equals LM. They just flip the order there, so symmetric. And then if those are equal in length, they're congruent. Definition of congruence. Okay, next. Tres más. With these, the more you practice it, the easier it gets. So we're just going through them. Number 5. Okay, first of all, given. Get that one right off the bat. You'd plug in your first statement as well as your last one if you were dragging and dropping. Then from here, look at what we have in regards to the picture over here. X, Y is congruent to UV. So they're saying this is equal to this, and YZ is equal to TU. So they want you to prove that this segment is equal to this segment. I think they're gonna use segment addition postulate here. XY is equal to UV, so this would be just definition of congruence. Then they're saying XY plus YZ equals whole segment, and so on and so forth, segment addition postulate. Now they're going to use these statements with this one, and they're going to do substitution. Okay, so here we have UV plus UV plus YZ. They both equal these guys. So then you can put these two equal. So that would be transitive or substitution, whatever. They got transitive over here. So transitive. And then definition of congruence. Next. Yes, I'm starting to move quickly because I know I'm losing your attention. You guys are getting bored. Okay. Plug in your given. Then looking at what they stated, YW is congruent to YZ, and XY is congruent to VY. And they want you to prove that this whole segment is the same as this one. Okay. Definition of congruence. Then XY plus YZ equals XZ, that's segment addition postulate. Then VY plus YW equals XZ. They're using substitution there. And do they have two substitutions? No, they don't have two substitutions. VY plus YW equals VW. Okay, that's segment addition postulate. And then this one's substitution. Then XZ equals VW. These two are the same, so they're using transitive to put these two equal, so that would be transitive. And then definition of congruent segments. It's kind of like a puzzle. What's that?
It's not very fun.
It takes a lot of thinking, that's for sure. Usually you wouldn't have to fill in all of these. You're filling in like a couple spots, so it makes it a little bit easier. These are kind of harder than you would see on a test or something. Okay, the last one, number 7. Given E is the midpoint. Oh wait, start by putting in given. Now I'm looking at the given statement. E is the midpoint of AC, so I'm going to know that AE is equal to EC, and DE is equal to EC. DE is equal to EC, so this is equal to this. And they want me to prove that DE is also equal to AE. I already see transitive happening here, but E is the midpoint of AC. Now they have us filling in some over here. If E is a midpoint, then for midpoint, AE would equal EC. And then the other given statement they didn't put yet is DE equals EC. So if both of these equal EC, then AE equals DE. That's transitive. And then they're saying definition of congruence, so that means AE is congruent to DE. And then they just switch the order, symmetric property, so that this looks like this, and you're done. Okay. Yes, Chris?
How do you get the second statement?
The second statement, AE equals EC. So they told us that E is a midpoint, and this said definition of midpoint. So because E is a midpoint, then AE equals EC, and that's why I put that.
Oh.
Yep. Your homework tonight is in a little bit of a different format than you're used to. Instead of like the multiple choice quiz style, I use the assessment tools on Schoology, which I know some of your other teachers use, where you like drag and drop into spaces, and that's what it will look like. There's 4 problems instead of 5, but they're multiple part. I have it set to give you partial credit, so if you don't get like all the boxes filled in correctly, it'll still give you partial credit. Of course, still work to get toward your 8 out of 10 or higher for full credit. You have 5 attempts. It doesn't work very well on your phone. The formatting of the assessment tools doesn't work well on your phone. So make sure that you get it done in class on the laptop. So get a laptop. When you finish your homework and you have 10 Khan Academy done, you can ask to get your phone.